supporting their loved ones, or just their heroes. Well, Sabine Gasteiger, the Austrian, 53-year-old, she's going to bring her Paralympics to a close and won't be running today. Alexandra Franceva there, also choosing not to start. So already down from the 10 listed to just 8 races, as we hear 30 seconds until Henrieta Farkasova of Slovakia gets us underway, and definitely one of the threats here. Gold in the Super G and gold in the giant slalom, as well as a 5th place finish in the slalom.
5, 4, 3.
Now, the World Cup event last year here at Whistler, she got gold in the slalom, which we'll have this afternoon, gold in the Super G, which this is, and gold in the Super Combined, combination of the two. So she's definitely a threat here on this hill. Following her guide, Natalia Subrtova. You can hear the communication between them, as always, in the visually impaired division. They will be talking to each other. You hear a lot of the shouts. There will be much more that you can't hear. And skiing closely together there. And you see Natalia in front every few seconds or so. Just glance around to make sure nothing untoward is happening. She's in the right line. They will have gone through the course in the course inspection and in their heads beforehand. But Natalia, of course, if she sees that Henrieta is taking a slightly wayward line, she can shout and tell her to correct it. So pretty good run. No major mistakes here as we come down towards the final few turns in towards this finish. In the tuck. And Farkasova posts a time of 1 minute 35.26 seconds. Now Natasha Detroit of Belgium. We see at the first checkpoint there. Already a second down, so Farkasova's time already looking pretty good. The Belgian was 5th in yesterday's Super G. That's her best result so far. And she had a very consistent games 4 years ago. Unfortunately for her, no medals. She had 1 4th and 3 5th place finishes. She did slightly better at the World Championships last year though. 3 4th place finishes. But it wasn't all heartbreak for her. She did get 1 bronze medal in the Super Combined. So she'll be confident about this event today, the final event of the Alpine programme. But well back of Farkasova's time at the moment. She works for the Ministry of Economics back in Belgium. So when she sees the times, she should have a fair idea of exactly what she needs to do. But 13.5 seconds back. She's going to need some help from Farkasova and possibly from others, but we'll see. We have seen several favourites crash out unexpectedly. Well, 4th place for the Umsteads yesterday. Danelle and husband Rob. And that's their best finish so far. They're 5-time national adaptive ski champions. And she had a 3rd place finish in the Super Combined in January this year in Sestria, Italy, as well as 3 bronze positions here at the World Cup in Whistler last year in the downhill, the giant slalom and the slalom. So could be among the medals here. Danelle in the B2 category. And it's all B2s and B3s today. As she comes down to finish, well, she's going to be several seconds back. But quicker than the Belgian, so into 2nd place. Ana Cohi Fornell of Spain, following Raquel Garcia Borreguero. Best place so far was a 5th in the giant slalom and 6th in yesterday's Super G. She's entered all 5 events here, as many of these races have. Made her debut back in 2004 at the European Cup. So she's been on the circuit for a fair while. Just 21 though, so she did make her debut very young. And skiing fairly cautiously here. This the 2nd quickest of the different races. The downhill, of course, the quickest, with the slalom, which we'll see this afternoon, the most technical and therefore the slowest, with the number of turns the races have to make. So Henrieta Farkasova of Slovakia remains our leader. She may not be for long though, because Viviane has been in very good form at these games. 1 gold, 2 silvers and a bronze medal so far. Silvers in both the Super G and the slalom. And she's had 4 first place finishes in slalom events on the World Cup circuit this season, so if she can be there or thereabouts come the Super G, she could be very hard to beat. She won the Super Combined in Korea last year at the World Championships, and she's a 1/4 of a second up on Farkasova now. Viviane Forêt has been one of the stars of the Winter Paralympics here, much to the delight of many in the crowd down below and fans watching from all across Canada. So Forêt comes, will she be in the lead? Well, she lost some time there, 0.7 of a second back, but not too bad. She said her motto is always trying to reach for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll reach the stars. Well, in 2nd place now, and very much a threat this afternoon with the slalom still to come. So Anna Kuliskova, following her guide Michaela Hubakova, the pairing from the Czech Republic. And you can hear from the sound, still fairly hard packed around these turns. It will be, of course, getting softer as the day wears on. So the sun continues to beat down, which will change conditions, but it is Obviously excellent visibility, so the athletes won't be complaining considering what we had earlier in the week. And Kuliskova crashes out on that turn. So she won't get a chance for her slalom run. But her teammate, not her teammate, excuse me, but the Slovakian, Henrieta Farkasova, very similar uniforms they wear, but most definitely different countries. Since 1993, of course, when the former Czechoslovakia separated, and another racer crashes out. This is Mel Perrine of Australia. Well, she'll complete her way down following her guide Andrew Bohr. And these two pairings both crashing out. So the field of 10 was already down to 8 in the starting gate, with 2 pulling out. And we're now down to 6.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
It'll be 6 this afternoon, assuming Katie Sarubbi
4.
Come on!
2.
1.
Come on, Katie, up, up, up!
can complete her run here. Oh, and just a little stumble there, but regains control. Having to use the poles, so not an ideal start for Sarubbi. Now, Katie has an extremely rare condition called AMS, which means she was born without eyelids. And she's had to undergo 57 corrective surgeries. The first when she was just 3 years old. She has a very interesting story. Shortly after the September 11 attacks, because her father is a firefighter in New York City, the two of them were invited to be guests at the Hartford Ski Spectacular in Breckenridge, Colorado. She was only 11 at the time, but enjoyed it so much that she decided on a career on the slopes. And she's extremely talented off the slopes as well. She's in her freshman year at Harvard University in the pre-med program. And the university has allowed her to take time off to compete in these games. And you can follow more about her. She does have a blog on her own website, CaitlinSarubbi.com. Well worth checking out if you have a few moments. She is a remarkable young woman, as all of these athletes are, of course. Now 20 years old, following her guide Gwynn Watkins. And you can hear Gwynn encouraging her. Let's go, Katie, as the two of them come down to the finish. Well, Sarubbi, her first Paralympic Games. Looking to improve on the 6th place finish she had in the giant slalom. And she'll do no worse than 6th here, because with 2 pullouts and 2 crashes, that's where she is. So she'll look to try and improve by a couple of places if she can. It's confirmation Farkasova leads from Fornell and Umstead. And the top 2 there, well clear of the field in 3rd place. Well, Lauren is Lauren Woolstencroft, the Canadian who has absolutely dominated the standing division. And she is a big, big favourite again here today. She's going for her 5th gold medal of the Games. And even though she's not the most experienced in this discipline, she's certainly still a heavy favourite. She was just 5th at the World Championships last year, so there is hope for the rest of the field. Alison Jones, there in 9th place. It's her last chance to win a medal here, but this event may be her best shot. Silver at the Worlds last year, and a 2nd and 3rd place showing in World Cup Super Combined races this season. And the 16-year-old Marie Bochet of France, as well as Solene Jambaque, will also be among the contenders here. But it's Evita Chlebakova, the 47-year-old Slovakian. Turned 47 earlier this week, and she has 2 5th-place finishes, Giant Slalom and Super G. Now, we've seen a very, very large and successful Slovakian contingent at these Paralympics, but it was this lady who led them into the stadium for the opening ceremony last Friday. And she will hope to post the first time in this division. I say hope because we've had several people crash out just trying to push down these turns. 2 in the last race. Not as many, of course, in the downhill, which is steeper and quicker than this Super G course. Here comes Chlebakova. Down into the final sweep. And across the line, 1 minute 35.40 seconds. So that is the marker for now. Second up, Marie Bochet. And she had a 4th place in the slalom. But she's been very consistent in slalom all year. She looks to be racing pretty hard here in this Super G. If she can get in amongst the top few places, she will very much fancy her chances of being among the medalists for the first time after the slalom later on today. She was 8th in yesterday's Super G, so if she can improve on that by 2 or 3 spots, as well as the time, as long as the time isn't too far off, certainly in with the shout here. But she's half a second back on the Slovakian at the moment. And she is in the exact same class, both LW6s. And so this will very much be matched raw time for raw time in terms of relative to Chlebakova. They'll both get the same time boost from the factoring system. And she's lost a little bit more time, 1.89 seconds back. And we'll have to see as more and more athletes come down how good that opening time from Chlebakova was. Now this is Solene Jambaque, Bochet's teammate. Jambaque was 4th in the Super G yesterday, but had a silver medal in the downhill. And she did win the Super Combined World Cup race in Aspen earlier this month. And she's definitely peaking at the right time this season. She had a fairly rough start to the season. And she won all 5 events she raced in Aspen. 2 golds in the downhill, 2 golds in the Super G, and 1 gold in the Super Combined, and she's a second up. So not quite as good as she would have hoped for so far at these games, but still 1 silver medal, which will have taken the pressure off. She won't be going home empty-handed at least, so she can really try and push it here into the tuck whenever possible. and comes down. Let's see if she can maintain or even increase that second lead she had at the last checkpoint. This looks good, and she has increased it. 1.89 seconds. That's a solid run from Jambaque. Pumps her fist. She looks happy. But she will be very aware that Lauren Woolstencroft is coming in 4 races' time. First up, though, Melania Corradini, 22-year-old Italian. And Corradini was second in the Super G yesterday. So she will definitely have some confidence after yesterday's performance. It is a slightly different course, but it's the same hill. Won't be too different. Nothing these skiers can't adapt to fairly easily. They are used to racing several different events in consecutive days on the World Cup circuit. Well, she's down by over a second on Jambaque. Of course, she won't know that. We have the benefit of the clock. And it's impossible to know from racer to racer how well she feels she's performing. So they'll always be trying to push it, but of course, with the number of crashes we've seen, they don't want to lose control. Well, lost a little bit more time. And Corradini, I believe, goes into a tie for second at the moment. As we see the German Andrea Rothfuss. And she's another one who's skied well this week. Medalled in all 4 of her races so far in Vancouver. And looks to be pushing it here. Let's see how she's doing at the first checkpoint. No goals, of course, because she's up against Lauren Woolstencroft, and so far this week, that's mean pretty much everyone else is scrapping out for silver and bronze. But Rothfuss will do what she can do here as we come up to the checkpoint. And she's up on Jambaque by 3/4 of a second, so she is charging here. Because Jambaque looked pretty happy with her run, and she's no slouch. So the German coming round to, just straddles that gate. And that's it for Rothfuss. Well, she was giving it her very best shot of trying to post a competitive score. Competitive for gold, that is, because of course she's already been very competitive in all the races. Now, the first of 2 Canadians back-to-back. Karolina Wisniewska. 7 Paralympic medals to her name, including a bronze in the slalom. And 0.64 seconds. So in touch. And with that slalom to come. The slalom, the better of her 2. At least it was this week. 7th in the Super G. So if she can keep within a second or so of Jambaque, she can look to maybe close that gap this afternoon in the slalom event. But she'll need to keep it going here. Jambaque was fairly strong down the second part of this course, down through this sweeping left-hand turn. And she is a second now, but she's lost a few more tenths. 33-year-old from Vancouver. She'll have lots of support here. So, Wisniewska gets into the tuck, comes around these final few turns. The crowd start to roar her down as she comes over hot air. The final rise down into the finish. Can she claw back some of that time? Well, she's lost a little bit more, 1.7 seconds. Not too bad. Seems to be her reaction. But very good, say the crowd. And this is our leader. But for how long? Because Lauren Woolstencroft. Oh, well. That isn't Petra Smolzova. She'll be the next one down. This is Lauren Woolstencroft, the Canadian. Just had the wrong graphic there. And Woolstencroft will be looking to once again lead from the front. And we'll see. Well, she's been so dominant in all 4 of her wins. 4 golds, but 4 golds by considerable margins. And 5 seconds up on Jambaque. Well, it really is 2 different races. Woolstencroft races for gold, and the rest of them, so far at least, have to settle for silver at best. The crowd will have seen that, and you can hear them respond. Let's see if she can improve her 5-second lead by even more. Look at her charging down the final part of this course. 6.67 seconds. And Lauren Woolstencroft of Canada. Well, it's so easy. She makes it look that way anyway. Now, we do have Petra Smolzova, another Slovakian. Smolzova 3rd in the giant slalom. That's her best of results so far. 6th in the Super G. And she didn't place in the slalom, but she was 2nd after the first run. So, as long as she can keep it together, she can definitely post a competitive time this afternoon. She's just 19, but this is her 2nd Paralympic Games. She was 6th in the Super Combined at the World Championships in Korea last year. So she'll be behind Woolstencroft, but how much far behind? Well, 6.4 seconds. And that's, at the moment, going to be behind Jambaque. Jambaque was about 5 seconds back at that last checkpoint. So how far back now is Smolzova going to fall? After Woolstencroft's time, it really is a race for 2nd place, at least on the Super G portion. Well, down in 6th for Smolzova, but as I said, she could pull things back on the slalom, which is the better of her 2 events here in this Super Combined. And how many times have we seen that smile, wave and thumbs up from the leader, Lauren Woolstencroft of Canada. Alison Jones here, the American. Now, she won the slalom 4 years ago in Turin, so definitely her best. She was 5th here at Whistler in these Paralympic Games, and that was her best result of the week. 9th in yesterday's Super G. So, Alison Jones from Colorado Springs in Colorado. Has a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Denver. She graduated there 3 years ago. And she was the recipient of the Pioneer Award, the highest achievement an undergraduate can receive. Silver in the Super Combined World Cup race in Sestria, Italy, earlier this year. And she comes down to complete her Super G portion of this Super Combined. Well back of Woolstencroft, of course. And into 8th place for Jones. 11 seconds behind. So a handful more athletes here, including Ingva Medvedeva of Russia. And Medvedeva well back in the IPC AS points so far from this season. Lauren Woolstencroft is 0, which means she's the highest. The next best was Alison Jones with 19 points. Well, Medvedeva has over 100. So 8 seconds back at this point. And she'll just try and ski as strongly as she can. She knows she won't be beating Woolstencroft, but she'll want to sign off as well as she can. She was 6th in the slalom and 10th in the Super G, but with the slalom to come, her stronger event of the two, she'll see if she can chip away at some of the time she's going to be behind. So Medvedeva finishes in 9th place. Now Marina Pertra of Austria has pulled out, chosen not to start. And we have 2 more races, including Melanie Schwartz of Canada. Likes trampolining, water sports and cycling. When she's not practicing her Alpine. Currently living in Toronto, where she is originally from. Has a degree in computer science from the University of Waterloo in Ontario. And Schwartz may have had an opportunity to speak to Woolstencroft, maybe see how the course is running, or at least have the coaches relay that information back to her. But 12 3/4 seconds down on her teammates at that last checkpoint. Braking hard around that turn, so losing a lot of speed. And she'll just want to pick up as much as she can down this final slope. But she is going to be well back. And into 10th place for Melanie Schwartz. So Katja Saarinen of Finland will wrap things up for us at the halfway stage. The 6th of 6 events, completing their Super G portion of the Super Combined. We'll then have a break. And the athletes will come back for a slalom run after the course has been reset, of course. Saarinen 10th in the slalom, 11th in the Super G. And has been on the circuit for a while. She's 30 years old now, but this is her 3rd Paralympic Games. And she's an elementary school teacher. So the Finn will certainly have some stories to tell when she returns to Helsinki. And leaning forward down this slope, coming down to the finish. And Saarinen posts a time of 1:42.55 seconds into 10th place. And again, as she salutes her followers, again, Lauren Woolstencroft of Canada is our leader by some way. Confirmation here of the standings at the halfway stage after the Super G run. Jambaque of France, 6.67 seconds behind. And another Canadian, Wisniewska, there in 3rd. But as you can see, 4th again, and 6th, a tie for 4th. And they're all within touch of that 3rd place spot, at least. Very close for there. So we'll be back later on for the second half of this Super Combined event here at Whistler Creekside.